So, hi. Unfortunately, I'm going to need to put a bit of a pause on this project because right now I'm waiting for a few things to come in from the mail, and also, honestly, I need to save up some money to buy some parts as well. So, instead, this, whatever this is, I have no idea what I'm going to call it, is going to be talking more about props and kind of a couple different variations of props, which I like to call practical props, and kind of how it helps with feel and usefulness. Now, of course, there's levels to practical props. I think one of the most important levels to kind of talk about, which is buying the real thing. Obviously, there's a risk to that, as always. Like a great example would be, this is an actual M2 military shovel from World War II. This was, as far as I can tell, from Tank Crew. And first off, it looks awesome because it's the real thing. And another problem, though, is it's heavy. It's metal and wood, as you can probably hear. I mean, yeah, it looks awesome, you know. Got the nice flip-out shovel. But pretty much, as far as I know, like, no cons will ever let you bring this in. But it is a form of realism to prop making. Particularly for something like filmmaking, this is great. I put that in backwards. Get in there. Yeah, this is very unscripted and very like a spur of the moment kind of thing I am doing here. But that is something still very kind of nice to have sometimes. Sometimes having that weight to a prop really just kind of helps you get into character. Well, another very easy, practical thing you can do for, you know, whatever cosplay you're doing is pouches. Because actually I was at a con recently and I found these amazing pouches for certainly cheap. These. I'll be throwing up close-ups of smaller things and stuff. But these are some World War II German pouches. Actually, I think one of these is World War I. I think this was World War I, if I remember correctly. And, well, these were the reproductions. But they really do kind of help with the vibe. I wore actually, when I bought these at the con, I started wearing them because I was wearing kind of what I like to call a comfortable cosplay, which was just zombie apocalypse or whatever apocalypse you want it to be, just as like a survivor running around. But you know, pouches obviously are useful, especially when you're in cosplay, because, you know, being able to store things on your person is always very useful, and it just kind of makes your life easier. And this is a very nice, easy way to do it, is just buy some military surplus pouches from things and, you know, kind of fit it in. Like, I mean, these pouches literally are used in Star Wars, and that's mostly just because Star Wars, if you don't know about the prop history of that, mostly because it was filmed a little after World War II, so there was a bunch of military surplus, and a lot of old 80s and 90s films have a lot of that in it. Well, 80s, 90s, and 60s all have that kind of, but we're not getting into prop making history, although I might talk about that at some point. But another kind of example of that is backpacks, or specifically being a weirdo like me and making your own. Because this is the backpack for my ODST cosplay, which, again, delay for now, but because, you know, it's a big old hunk of foam, I decided let's make it worth something. You know, this is not a small backpack. There's a lot of space in there to stick things in, and that's just something that kind of can just be helpful, because usually, usually when you're running a full suit, you want to have someone else with you because, you know, your mobility is questionable at best. But, you know, with this, it's like, well, if I have a giant backpack, why not make it functional? Why not make it, you know, something I can actually use when going out onto the floor? And that is something very useful. Another thing is, of course, prop weapons. Now, of course, there's always rules and regulations. Like, you know, you can't really have metal swords, which I fully understand. Just like you can't have actual firearms. And I actually didn't believe, I don't know where the other prop gun went. But one very simple and fun way you can have your props still have some functionality is Nerf guns. This doesn't have any ammo in it, but, you know. Wow. Probably blew out the mic. I'm so sorry. But, you know, this is the shotgun I was carrying at the event, and this is actually a very old prop from me. And this is a Mega Nerf Magnus as its main heart, with an old buttstock from a airsoft gun and PVC piping, metal rods, bolts and screws. So this whole thing can be broken down if needed to when I need to work on it. But yeah, like, this is a very simple way to make it feel more real, honestly. It's like, I think I do have a pull over here. Yeah, I do. You know, just being able to pop one in, and so loud. I think it's an old clanker. But like, just those kind of small things really can help bring out cosplay to that next level of where, like, you know, just it feels real. Like, honestly, someday I would love to do a full metal ODST cosplay. And I know there is a guy doing it online. He's doing it out of aluminum, but I want to do it like out of proper steel, because in Halo lore, it's made by forged steel, and like, I would love to be able to do that. But yeah, this is real small, short episode or video, whatever you want to call this. Just kind of talking about some of the practical props and like how they can really help sell something. Actually, you know what? I see it. Give me one moment. There's one other style I didn't mention, which is 3D printed props. But this one is a fantastic Magnum for the most part. The guy who made this did not understand gun engineering at all, but has a bolt that can go back. Mag, technically speaking, is removable. It's just not very removable because, again, mechanically speaking, unsound. But this also can just help because, like, the trigger does move, you know, and like just that feeling when you're going out on the floor, you know. Just makes it kind of, just gives you that feel, gives you the, like, I've heard some people call it the fuzz, you know, they're just like, yeah, this feels real, kind of helps me go into the universe of Halo. And yeah, that's the last of it, I promise. Yeah, that's just kind of going over that a little bit, because like, also airsoft guns are pretty popular as well. Although you do need to be kind of careful with that, just kind of a heads up, because like, I have some quote-unquote demilled airsoft guns that I use because they just are not functional. They're all about just the looks, and like, that's just a thing you have to be careful with whenever you use airsoft guns. That's why I prefer using Nerf guns, because yes, the proportions are a little more wonky, but you know, you can still get a very good looking prop. I mean, I think, I don't think it's too out there for me to say this looks good. From just, spending the time to make it rather than just buying it. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'm hoping to do a Kit Bash Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, so hopefully that will all work out fine. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. It's all free, and you can always decide not to later. So I'll see y'all whenever I see y'all. So have a good evening.